Hello everyone, this is Dr. Frank Tianxie. In this lecture, we're going to cover Chapter 20, Regulation of Advertising and Promotion. Okay, it's Chapter 20, Regulations. Advertising have been, the industry and advertisers, the industry have been putting some controls on advertising. They have been doing self-regulation, okay? There's the Advertising Association, the industry puts something on themselves, self-regulate, okay? And there are state regulations by the state, imposed by different states, and there are the federal regulations affecting advertising, many ways to control, okay? Self-regulation of advertising. This actually, first you think that's kind of inconceivable. Why would they want to put some regulation on themselves? Okay? It's actually a good idea. Actually, you need to be proactive, right? They are the gatekeepers, the advertising industry, the businesses involved, the media, and the trade associations, right? They are the gatekeepers, but they want to keep this industry healthy and in good shape, and can have the trust of the public, right? They use self-regulation to achieve certain goals. One is to maintain consumer trust and confidence. Okay? Second, they want to limit government interference. If they can regulate, because they know the industry better, if they can regulate themselves, there's no need for government to step in. That's the concept here. And they want to protect all parties from litigations, those nasty lawyers, okay? The self-regulation of advertising. There are the local, state, and federal regulations, of course, right? At the local and industry group level, there is the Better Business Bureau, you've heard about the BBB. There's a National Advertising Review Council, an ARC. There's a Distilled Spirits Council, advertising on alcohol and spirits. There's the American Medical Association, AMA, guidelines on advertising about, doctors, medical equipment, hospital treatment, etc. Okay? There are the state and federal agencies working to regulate advertisement. There's Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and heavily, regulating the industry. There is the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, that regulates advertising through the airwaves, TVs, radios. Okay. There's a Food and Drug Administration, FDA, that regulate, excuse me, advertisement on food and drugs mostly. There's a U.S. Postal Service, USPS, that regulates, advertising through mails, Postal Service mails. They have a say in that. Okay. Self-regulation by advertisers and agencies, and there are actually some protective measures. They provide company guidelines, standards, and policies to follow. They use corporate attorneys to look at the ad before they launch it, and they have to substantiate the ad claims. If you say something, claim something in your ad, you better have it sustained, right? They have agency-client contracts, reviewed well by the lawyers, okay? And they have creative review boards, okay? They have specialized lawyers on those, on advertising, okay? The self-regulation by advertisers and agencies, okay? Also self-regulation by trade associations, okay? Affected products and services, like liquor and alcoholic beverages, okay? They self-regulate. Pharmaceutical companies, products for children, heavily regulated, and legal and medical services. Those trade associations will put themselves on rigid guidelines as to what to do and what not to do. Liquor advertising on TV. Yeah. Excuse me, let me close this up here. There are actually some 60 million underage viewers of liquor advertising on TV. That you may be surprised. Maybe you you saw some before you turned 21, right? And that's why I see here. This is an advertisement, liquor advertising on TV. Is actually one said here, don't let our kids drown in Seagram's TV ads. Okay? It's open letter to Seagram's CEO, right, on New York Times. Angry about the hard liquor ads on TV, call this agency. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Self-regulation by businesses. There's the Better Business Bureau, BBB. It promotes fair advertising and selling practices across all industries. And also it handles consumer complaints. If you have complaints about certain company business, you can tell them. Okay? And it's supported by dues of the member companies. Those companies, they're part of the BBB. They're gonna proudly display that on their windows, doors. Okay? They use negative publicity to curb abuses. So you don't want to do that, right? And the BBB National Investigative Arms, they have a National Advertising Division, NAD, they have Children's Advertising Review Unit, CRU, and Electronic Retailing Self-Regulation Program, ERSP. They have that investigative arms to conduct their investigation. This is the National Advertising Review Council. And you can see that there are members here, so they show you how what they do and what's the purpose here. Okay. CARU activities. The general activities are to review and evaluate child-directed advertising in all the media. And they want to oversee online privacy issues that affect children, and also advise advertisers and agencies, and they want to maintain self-regulatory guidelines for children's advertising. That's their activities. Okay. The missions of ERSP is to enhance consumer confidence in electronic retailing, discourage advertising and marketing in the electronic retailing industry that contains unsubstantiated claims, and demonstrate a commitment to meaningful and effective self-regulation. Okay. Self-regulation by advertising associations. The self-advertising associations actually, actively monitoring and policing advertising practices. American Association of Advertising Agencies. There's American Advertising Federation, okay, that consists of advertisers, agencies, media, and advertising clubs. Okay. Self-regulation by media, like some media itself, they actually, regulate them. This commercial here by United Colors of Benetton, where, a clergyman and woman are kissing, which is not inappropriate. And many magazines actually refuse to have this ad. Okay. This is a TV network's guidelines for children's ad. You can see it's very extensive. Okay, advertisement for children, on TV must not over glamorize the product, because children can be easily, deluded, right? And no exhortative language such as ask mom to buy. If you have that, use that. No, they won't let you. Okay. No realistic war settings, okay, violence settings. Generally, no celebrity endorsements, okay, because children can easily buy into that. Can use only or just in regard to price. Show only 2 toys per child or maximum of 6 per commercial. Okay. Use a 5-second island showing product against plain background at the end of spot. Okay. Animation restricted to 1/3 of a commercial. Generally, no comparative or superiority claims. No costumes or props not available with a toy. No child or toy can appear in animated segments. 3-second establishing shot of toy in relation to child. No shots under 1 second in length. And must show distance a toy can travel before stopping on its own. So you can see it's quite, exhaustive, and quite comprehensive and detailed. Appraising self-regulation. Advertisers, agencies, and media, they say, they encourage, truthful, ethical, and responsible advertising, and effective regulatory mechanism is preferable to government intervention. It can be more stringent standards than those imposed by legislation. That's what the praising, says. Okay? But there are critics who said, that it takes too long to resolve complaints, and there are problems with budgeting and staffing, lack of power or authority, self-serving to advertisers and media. The critics who say that. Okay? Federal regulation of advertising, FCC, communication, satellite, radio, okay? FDA, Food and Drugs, right? Postal Service, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, okay? On advertising towards alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, of course. And Trade Commission, everything related to pertaining to interstate commerce, they can have a say. Okay? Advertising and the First Amendment, okay? Because the proponents or opponents of that, freedom of speech or expression is the most basic federal law that governs advertising and promotion, right? Speech promoting a commercial transaction is protected, but it must be truthful. Okay? It's free speech, but it has to be truthful. You cannot deceive others, right? Speech must be balanced against competing interests, such as advertising of harmful products. Okay? This is the Federal Trade Commission. It's created by FTC Act of 1914. There is the Wheeler-Leah Amendment of 1938 that made the deceptive practices unlawful. You can't have deceptive statements in advertisement. They have 3 major divisions: consumer protection, economics, and competition. Okay, that's part of FTC. The concept of unfairness. What is the concept of unfairness in advertisement? If an advertisement is considered unfair if it causes substantial physical or economic injury to consumers, okay? Or if it could not reasonably be avoided by consumers, and it must not be outweighed by countervailing benefits to consumers or competition. And then that's when something is called unfair, right? Puffery. Puffery actually is allowed in advertisement. We have seen that, like BMW says, the ultimate driving machine. Ultimate driving machine. What do you mean, ultimate driving machine? To no other driving machine is better or what, But obviously, we all believe that it's just a puffery, and it's a little exaggeration, but that's okay. That's reasonable. Okay. Bayer has it. The wonder drug that works wonders. That's a puffery. Nestle, the very best chocolate, or Snapple, made from the best stuff on earth. How do you know it's the best stuff on earth? So, but we all know, hey, that's okay. That's Puffery, that's accepted. Okay? Deceptive advertising. If you have ad that's deceptive, you know, that is, if you have there's a likelihood of misleading consumer, that's deceptive. And there's from perspective of a reasonable consumer, a reasonable consumer will view that as a misleading, right? There's a materiality concept here. Misrepresentation or practice is likely to affect consumers' purchase decision. Then it's considered, deceptive. Okay? Ways the FTC handles deceptive ads, they can do something. Okay, there are FTC programs to prevent deceptive advertising, and they may ask for affirmative disclosure. They may have for advertising substantiation before you can make that claim. Okay? And also the FTC have programs to deal with deceptive advertising after it occurs. Okay? And they can issue cease and desist orders. Okay? They can issue consent orders, or they may even require corrective advertising. If it causes some misconception, you need to run ads again to correct your misconception. That'll be bad, okay, to the advertisers. Advertising substantiations, we have seen a lot of those weight loss, advertisement, right? Weight loss marketers must substantiate their claims. You can't just say, hey, I lost 200 pounds overnight or something like that. Okay? Federal regulations by FTC. In the 1970s, FTC is very powerful, very active. Okay? In the 1890s, it becomes less active. Okay? In 2000 to 2009, it focused on telemarketing and internet privacy a lot. And in 2010, from 2010 to present, they asked for increased powers to protect consumers against financial fraud. You can see there's a trend, there's changes in their focus. Okay? Additional federal regulatory agencies, Federal Communication Commission, Food and Drug, Postal Service, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, that the department, they can regulate advertising and promotion as well. Okay? One of them is Nutrition Labeling and Education Act. And this is a result of this act that the food, food packagings, we can see all those nutrition facts. Right? I'm sure you see that. Many of you may be reading that carefully, attentively. Some may not. I probably among the one that who don't read as much. This is about, let's see, I think it's peanut butter, right? What is it about? And peanut butter, just it has this serving size, 2 tablespoons, serving container, 35 servings, calories per serving, 190 calories. And in this serving, it has provide 25% of fat, 16% of saturated fat, no cholesterol, some sodium, carbohydrates, fiber, etc. Okay? And also some vitamins. Okay? That's labels. Must be easy for consumers to understand. U.S. Postal Services, it has control over ads that involve lotteries, okay? Obscenity, and fraud. Okay? There's mail fraud. Mail fraud, you've probably heard that term in many movies that literally works. Okay? Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the BATF, they enforce the liquor laws, develop regulations, collect taxes on liquor sales, and they regulate liquor advertising, and they impose sanctions. And the Suing Competitors, you have seen this Ragu versus Prego spaghetti sauce, and Ragu had this, advertisement saying that their spaghetti sauce is thick, right? And then Prego has this challenger showing that their spaghetti sauce is thicker and can, the breadstick can stand in there, and the Ragu is not. So, and they sued each other, the counter sued. So that's kind of like the ones was very, very entertaining and fierce battle there. Okay. State regulations. Different states may have different regulations on sales promotions, contests, and contest sweepstakes cannot be a lottery. Okay? They don't have the authority to issue a lottery. The rules and details must be fully disclosed on sweepstakes. Premiums, you cannot misrepresent their values. Okay? Care must be taken with special audiences. Trade allowances must not violate any stipulation of the Robinson-Patman Act, Antitrust Act. The co-op funds must be equal and non-discriminatory, okay, by FTC. Okay. Direct marketing, there's self-regulation occurs. There's FTC and U.S. Postal Service policies on Direct Response Act, and the telemarketer faces increased regulation from the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, pay-per-call rules, and the FTC do not call registry. And this National Do Not Call Registry basically protecting consumers from unwanted solicitation or telemarketing calls. Okay? Companies calling consumers on the registry are subject to fine up to $11,000 per incident. Okay. Internet marketing issues, privacy issues, marketing to children, unsolicited emails or spams, that are the problems. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, protect privacy of children, place restriction on collecting information from children by the internet, and privacy policies must be on homepage, an area where data is collected. Okay. Regulation on social media, safeguarding personal information, guideline for online endorsement, paid endorsers posting on social media and e-commerce sites must identify themselves as such, etc. Okay. Anti-spamming legislation, there's a CAN Spam Act of 2003, email rules. It has conspicuous notice of the right to opt out. If you don't want to receive emails from them, you can opt out. Clear, conspicuous identification that the message is an advertisement. Right? A valid physical postal address for the sender. Require that. That's all I have for this chapter. I'll see you next time.